Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to talk about my June TBR. So in May, I had my book haul revisit, which I do every year or every month, and I did 2 years worth, and so I ended up having 5 or 6 books. And so I had that plus the Southern Charm readathon, and I found myself still just scraping by. Like I was still overwhelmed with books, just having those 2 things going on. So I decided I'm not going to do a readathon this month. I am going to do something special just for Patreon, because what I did with the Southern Charm readathon is just I just went ahead and vlogged for them because I love providing extra vlog content. And so in order to do that, what I asked them to do is to all pick books from my shelves. So I filmed a bookshelf tour, which by golly, that is overwhelming. So I filmed a bookshelf tour for them and told them they could go ahead and pick what books they wanted me to read, and whatever books had multiple votes would be the books that I would read. Now I wanted 4 books from them because I am still going to be doing my book haul revisit, and we'll see if I do 2 years again. I think it will still, I will guarantee to have at least a handful of books from that. And so then I want 4 from them so I can vlog once a week for them. And so here are the ones that got multiple votes. So the first one is Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemerrer. So this is about Juliet. Her mother has died, and she's drowning in grief. This is a YA, so I'm not sure how old she is. And then Declan, he's trying to escape the demons of his past. And so I think she writes letters to her mother and leaves them on her gravestone. And then I think Declan is writing back. And so they have this anonymous correspondence going on, and they form a bond. And now this is a chunky book. So it's almost 400 pages. It feels really big. And I can only get this physically. So this also, like I said, had multiple votes. And so I think I'm going to be buddy reading this, hopefully, with some of my patrons. So there is this book. Then we've got the Warsaw Orphan by Kelly Rimmer. I don't think I have read a Kelly Rimmer book, although I have quite a few of hers. I don't think I've read one. And so this one also got multiple votes. This is spring of 1942. Young Elzbieta Robanek is aware of the swiftly growing discord just beyond the courtyard of her comfortable Warsaw home. She has no fondness for the Germans who patrol her streets and impose their curfews, but has never given much thought to what goes on behind the walls that contain her Jewish neighbors. She knows all too well about German brutality, and that it's the reason she must conceal her real identity. But in befriending Sarah, a nurse who shares her apartment floor, Elzbieta makes a discovery that propels her into a dangerous world of deception and heroism. So Sarah is trying to smuggle children out of the ghetto. Using Sarah's credentials to smuggle children out of the ghetto brings Elzbieta face to face with the reality of the war behind its walls, to the plight of the Gorka family, who must make the impossible decision to give up their newborn daughter or watch her starve. For Roman Gorka, the final injustice stirs him to rebellion with a zeal not even his newfound love for Elzbieta can suppress. Etc., etc. So this is inspired by a real-life heroine who saved thousands of Jewish children during World War II. So this follows Elzbieta and Roman's perilous attempt to reclaim the love and life they once knew. From Nazi occupation to the threat of communist regime, Kelly Rimmer has penned her most meticulously researched and emotionally compelling novel to date. So that sounds like a lot. This one also, I looked it up. Let me see if I can get a digital copy or not. Yes, this one I can get on audio, so that will help, because sometimes historical fiction, especially, this has deckled edges, which I don't like, so I don't know why I bought it, but sometimes historical fiction can be a little bit of a slog for me, and so we'll see. This looks like relatively short chapters, and it's definitely alternating perspectives, so that always helps. But yeah, there's this one. And then another one is the Wartime Sisters. So this is by Lynda, Cohen, Loigman. And I believe this is another World War II. So this is Ruth and Millie. They're sisters, obviously. They've never been close. They live in Brooklyn. And now they're mothers to young children. Ruth has always been too controlling and uptight for Millie's taste, and Ruth has always resented the attention Millie receives, not just from men, but from her parents as well. With World War II on the horizon, Ruth's scientist husband is offered a part-time position, or is offered a position at the Springfield Armory. For Ruth, relocating to Massachusetts means a much-needed fresh start in a place where no one knows about her sister or her past. But for Millie, Ruth's departure comes at the worst possible moment. She's left behind in Brooklyn without family or friends, and with a new husband who provides proves to be more volatile than anyone could have imagined. After 5 years apart with the war in full swing, tragedy forces the sisters together again. So I don't know. This one sounds more like it's going to be a relationship between sisters with war as the background, as opposed to war being the central focus. So my hopes are a little bit higher for this. Although, like I said, I've heard great things about Kelly Rimmer, and also I may be buddy reading that one too. I don't know. So, yeah, I am looking more forward to this one. But so these are the 3 that I'm going to guarantee. Now, those are the 3 that got multiple votes out of my, 300 unread books. We have quite a few others that got votes, but I'm eliminating anything historical fiction since we have 2 World War II books. I don't want any more historical fiction. There's an asterisk because some of these are historical fiction, but and not wartime historical fiction, because we have the Warsaw Orphan, and then we also had, let me see, the Forgotten Orphan, the Orphan House, Orphan Train, which I realize I've already read, the Orphan's Tale. So there's a lot of orphan books on my shelves apparently. So also some of these I'm going to have to read physically. I think that Brigid Kemerrer, I know I have to read physically. I'm not sure about the others. Anyway, so out of all the ones they picked, I picked these 5 to be potential last books. So we have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I don't remember what this is about. Dexter meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's about a couple whose 15-year marriage has gotten too interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. This one, the description here is told in second person. You know, you first saw her at an airport. You spent your last $20 to switch seats and sit next to her, blah, 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 blah. Then you got bored. We all have our secrets to keeping a marriage alive. One just happens to be getting away with murder. I really don't like books in second perspective, so we'll see. This is an option. Then we also have Summer of 69 by Elin Hilderbrand. So this is historical fiction because it's about the summer of 1969. This is about, I think, 2 siblings. Let's see. 1969, for the Levin family, the times they are changing. Every year, the children have looked forward to spending the summer at their grandmother's historic home in downtown Nantucket. But like so much else in America, nothing is the same. Blair, the eldest sister, is marooned in Boston, pregnant with twins and unable to travel. Middle sister Kirby, caught up with the thrilling vortex of civil rights protests and determined to be independent, takes a summer job on Martha's Vineyard. And beloved son Tiger is an infantry soldier recently deployed to Vietnam. 13-year-old Jessie suddenly feels like an only child, trapped in the house with her out-of-touch grandmother and her worried mother, each of them hiding a troubling secret. As the summer heats up, Ted Kennedy sinks a car off Chappaquiddick. I don't know. Man lands on the moon, and Jessie and her family experience their own dramatic upheavals along with the rest of the country. So this is her first historical, which is interesting. And it's just about this family in 1969. So yes, Vietnam is going on in the background, but I don't think this is a war book. And so I feel like this won't add too much to my plate, knowing I'm already reading 2 World War II books and historical fiction is not my favorite. So maybe this. Then we have 3 Wishes by Barbara Delinsky. This is a little mass market paperback, and I know I've read the first chapter of this. So this is about a waitress named Bree. She wakes up in the hospital after a blizzard, and she can't remember what happened to get her there. And I think in the first chapter, we're following her. She's like walking and something, but she's certain of one thing. She has been magically granted 3 wishes. She longs for a home, a soulmate, and a family. So can she get those now with her wishes? I don't know. This one will probably be cute, sweet, romance, maybe women's fiction. Don't know. Then we have Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I have liked Mary Kubica in the past. This is about Shelby Tebow. She's the first girl to go missing not long after other people go missing. And it's trying to figure out what's happening to these women, I think. Like I said, I've liked Mary Kubica, so this one gives me high hopes. And then the last one is The Yada Yada Prayer Group by Neta Jackson. This is the first in a series, and I have multiple on the series, or in the series. And I know this is about a group, I think they're older women. I don't know how old, like if they're like 30s older or like 60s older, I don't really know. But it's about a prayer group and just their shenanigans. And I have read the first chapter of this as well and really liked it. So those are the 5 options. Now we're going to pick right now one to be on my TBR. So we have the 3 that got multiple votes, and then to pick the last one out of these 5, I put them in size order. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm going to do a random number generator. There were a bunch more recommended, but either I would have to read them physically, or I don't want to because they're World War II. So let's see, random number generator. I kept the list though, so I will continue to read their recommendations throughout the year. But okay, 1 to 5. Let's do it. I guess I could share my screen. Let's do that real quick before I click generate, so you guys know I'm doing the truth. We'll share my screen. Okay, let's click generate. It's number 1. Okay, so 3 Wishes by Barbara Delinsky will be my last one. So for my Patreon recommends TBR, we're going to have Barbara Delinsky's 3 Wishes, which I also think I need to read physically. Maybe not. I don't know. Wartime Sisters by Lynda, Cohen, Loigman. The Warsaw Orphan by Kelly Rimmer. And Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemerrer. So I've really been craving YA. So let's predict right here. You guys will have to come over to Patreon to see how this actually works out. But I'm going to predict my favorite to my least favorite. So I don't know. I'm not really in a historical fiction mood. So I think I'm going to do, Letters to the Lost will be my favorite, then 3 Wishes, then The Wartime Sisters, and then The Warsaw Orphan. I think that's going to be the order that I enjoy them in, but come over to Patreon and we'll see. So, okay, so that's my Patreon TBR. I am going to have a little bit more of a TBR from books that I already have from Libby that I know I'm not going to be able to get to in time. So let's see. Let me pull up my list. Obviously, I was very well prepared for this video. So we have whatever is on my June book haul revisit, which I haven't filmed, so I'm not sure if that's huge or small. But we've got Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which I have the physical copy. I didn't bring it down for some reason. But that is about 2 people who both believe they are cursed, that when they break up with somebody, that person goes on to find their soulmate. And so they find each other through like a Reddit thread, and they're like, well, if this happens to both of us, then let's get together. So then in theory, we'll break the curse and the next person will be our soulmate. So I've heard it's really cute. I've heard it's great. So I really want to read that. Then we have Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. And Dweck, maybe. This is about the power of your mindset. So I think the theory is like a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is like, things are the way they are and they're never going to change. We're stuck here, kind of black and white thinking, which, that's me. I fall into that quite a bit, versus a growth mindset of every day can be different and better. And the things you don't like, 1% better every day, you can improve on them or you can change them. Your thoughts are your thoughts and you can change them. All that growth and potential mindset. So I think it's going to be something, one of my friends actually recommended it to me. So I think that's going to be good. Then we have The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And this book is about how things are mental health is kind of dissolving here in America, and how as we have more technology and all that kind of stuff, we're creating more anxiety in our kids. And in the next generations. So I just think it's going to be really interesting. We are generally a low screen family, but I think it's just interesting, knowing my own anxiety issues and the world I grew up in versus the world my kids are growing up in. And so how to kind of negate some of the cultural impact and help my kids through it. And then last is The Rom-Commers by Katherine Center. I've had this on NetGalley and have been saving it because it comes out June 11th. And I'm really excited to read it. I honestly am not even really sure what it's about, but I've heard mixed results. And so I'm really excited to go into it kind of blind and just know that I love Katherine Center. So those 3 or whatever, plus my 4 for Patreon, that's 7 books. That's quite a bit to guide me. And then the rest will just be whatever pops up on Libby that I have requested a while ago or put on hold a while ago. And then it pops up because that inevitably happens. I also will keep some of these Patreon recommendations. on the back, so maybe I'll continue with those. And I've also requested, I think, just like 3 books on NetGalley, so we'll see if I get any of those or not. They're all June releases, so if I do, I will need to read them in June. So we'll see what happens, but those are the guaranteed books that I'm going to be reading for June. So head on over to Patreon. I will do the bookshelf tour is obviously there, and I will do Patreon recommends quite frequently, because like I said, I really like having extra blog content over there, so I can interact a little bit more with the people over there. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.